I always do that. Hello, welcome to tonight's stream. I'm wondering if it looks like I'm like lower down than normal. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But hello. I'm so glad you're here. Oh, so glad you're here. Let's see. I can see that Damien is here. Hello, Sarah is here. Jack Andrews. Hello. It's wonderful to see you. Hello. Oh, that comfy couch though. I do enjoy it. Yes, hello, welcome. All right, Tim's alarm was going off for a long time, so it was a little distracting, but back now. Hello. Yes, yes, I nailed the sound right away today. Yes, that is a thing that I did. Well, I'm super happy to see you here tonight. Um, Here we go. We'll just do that. Yeah, so how has everybody's week been? What are you working on? What are you wanting to be working on that you haven't been working on? I So as a person who is like a self-employed creative person, I um I think a lot about how much writing I do each day. And initially when I left my day job, I was like I'm going to write for 8 hours a day, 7 days a week and just never stop. And I found out pretty quickly that that was not incredibly sustainable. And so I've been working. So I left my job in 2017. Yeah, my gosh, it's been that long. And ever since then, I've sort of been working on what does my ideal creative day look like? Like, what does my ideal work day look like as a person who wants to produce as much as possible, the highest quality as possible, without burning myself out as much as possible? Hey, Mike, I'm glad you're here. Hello, welcome. So that is something I've been thinking about for a couple of years now. I've touched on it every once in a while in the Right Now podcast. I haven't had a lot of those coming out lately, though, and I'm thinking about it again. And hey, Carrie's here. Hey, hi. Damien says when I left my day job, I thought the same. Yes, and that I was going. Gonna go work out every morning. Well, we're all comedians, aren't we? Well, you just don't know. You don't know because what you don't know is that is how much other stuff when you're not at a day job in an office where you are kind of isolated from the demands of the world. Like you don't realize how quickly your time fills up with other stuff. And I know it sounds like I'm making excuses, but I'm really the kind of person that, like, if I could write 8 hours a day every day, I really would. But I have found that it's not sustainable. So if I write for a full 8 hours one day, then I'll notice the next day I will be, my brain will be choppy, it'll be not as good. And then if I try to do it for a third day in a row and really push myself, um, I just peter out, I burn out, and it starts to get really bad. And then it takes a long time to come back from that. Um, yes. Oh, yes. How unhealthy the modern work ethic really is. Well, and what you have to ask with anything, including the modern 8 hour workday. Well, there's two things, I think. One factor is who benefits from this? And you can ask that with literally anything. Like, oh, there's a sale at this store. Who benefits from this? Really? Like, sorry, we won't get into like sales tactics right now, but it's always good to ask who's really benefiting from this. And the other thing is that I lost my train of thought. Sarah says, I started my job in September. I learned today that I'm allowed a 15-minute break in the morning and in the afternoon. Good. Take those breaks. I came from a company that I loved working there at first, but um they were very dissuasive about us using our PTO and taking our breaks. Like they encouraged working through lunch. They encouraged checking your work email at like 2 a.m. We had a person in our office who had a newborn baby, and so they were up, at odd hours and like answered some work emails at 2 a.m. and like were commended for it, for their dedication. So yeah. Who benefits? I don't remember what the second thing was that I was going to say. Um, it'll come back. It'll come back. Yes, you do need breaks, Sarah. It's the same, yes, as charging your phone. Yes. Yes, so it keeps working. That's a really great insight. That's a really great insight. Jack Andrews says walking away from writing can be more productive than pushing through sometimes. I took a break from my project and my brain was able to work through the walls I was running into. That's such a good way of putting it too. I love that. I'm going to say that again. I took a break from my project and my brain was able to work through the walls I was running into. Okay, you should write that down and like patent it because that's a really succinct way of putting it. Because a lot of writing, and I have covered this part in a Right Now podcast episode, that even when you're not physically sitting down with like a pen in hand or with your fingers on a keyboard, however you prefer to write, you're still writing. You're filtering in information, you're picking up details, you're tucking things away for later. But your brain is also chewing on things. Even when you're sleeping, your brain is working on writing, which is great, but also hard to remember because there's a lot of guilt and shame if you don't put in that 8-hour workday. So I'm going to go through a few comments here. Oh, yeah. Carrie says in February, I was diving headfirst in developmental edits. I'd meet over a Discord call with my friend who's also my editor. We'd talk for an hour, hour and a half. I'd work on what we talked about until I had to get my munchkin from school. We'd only meet twice a week because that was a lot of brain power and I was exhausted. It's real. It's real. Hi, I'm switching over to YouTube just so Hi, Tiffany is here. JC Henry is here. I'm so glad to see you. I'm sorry I was slow in greeting you and saying hi. Yes, Tiffany, it is a party on the floor yet again. Hello, hello. Oh, Tiffany says this is good for me to hear. I'm taking time away from work and I'm already making promises to myself about everything I want to do. Yeah, there's a lot here. Yes, JC Henry says my goal in life is to write for at least 6 hours 4 days a week. Yes. I believe in the 4-day work week. I do too. I think that's really sustainable. Yes. 2 a.m. emails and you're a night person. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's so interesting. So Damien says we're taught that we aren't productive if we're not producing. We are not given tools to recoup or regather ourselves, and then it's a weakness to need to do so. Yeah, it's a great lie of the industrial age where mankind is made into a resource of production. Yes. Not to sound like not to get like I don't know, political about it or anything, but I love experimenting. I started Girl in Space as an experiment. I started the Right Now podcast as an experiment. I got into marketing because I liked experimenting. Um, I've got my tea here. Sorry, I'm just going to sip some tea while we chat. And so, like I kind of started this stream with, for the last 8 years, I have been self employed for 8 years. Oh my gosh. For the last 8 years, I've been experimenting with different sorts of work days. And what I haven't focused on is what is sustainable. What I have focused on is how do I push myself through, which Jack Andrews, that's I think very similar. I think that's why what you said resonated with me so much. Um, yes. Yes, the cynical part, Sarah says, likes to point out that in my old job, was it really? Oh my gosh, HR was not called HR, but human capital? No, it was not. I mean, it's not that I don't believe you. It's just like I am taken aback at how blatantly evil that sounds. Like I always thought that human resources was like a little cold, but human capital. Yes, tea, definitely not blood. Yep. 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 This is tea. Yep. If I was a vampire, I wouldn't be in this much sunlight, right? Yes. I know. Yeah. Human capital. Now, is that because I don't know. I think you're from. I don't want to call out where you're from, but where you're from, is that kind of normal to call it human capital? Oh my gosh, definitely human capital. My gosh. Yeah, that's a lot. A lot. Right. Let's see, making sure I check over here. Yeah, we should really learn, Tiffany says, from Europeans and how they handle work and holidays. Yes. I read a manager training manual that said sometimes it's good for the company when their employees are unhappy in their jobs. Thankfully, I left that place quick. Wow, Tiffany. Oh, JC Henry says on the East Coast it's night. So I could be a vampire and a time traveler. I mean, that's pretty cool. Anyone can have that idea. If you want to write a story about time traveling vampires that like escape the light of the sun by time traveling, it's yours. Enjoy writing it. Oh, you're in Quebec and no, it's not normal. Okay, I was like, maybe that's like a Canadian thing, like spelling. I want to say my brother lives in Canada and has started spelling gray with an e, and there's some other things he does. It's been a long day, but okay, it's not all called human capital. You know, I love me a dystopian sci-fi, and I think that if I put a human resources department in my dystopian sci-fi novel that was called Human Capital, I would get like called out for being too blatant about how evil the corporation is. So, I think that's saying something. I think that's saying something. Damien says, strangely, I know that a lot of companies move their HR to Quebec. Oh, really? There's a legal loophole. Oh. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Hilariously, I started my career in HR, and by started my career, I mean it was like one of the first jobs I had. I was a human resources intern at a hospital. Um, so it doesn't really count as my career. But interesting. Interesting, yeah. We've got a lot of Canadians in the house tonight. I like that too. That's fantastic. Um, so yeah, getting back to that workday. Back to what Jack Andrews said to I know I've talked about before kind of setting yourself up for success or failure. And I'm remembering when I went on writing retreats, I would always say, like, I'm going to write 12 hours a day and it's going to be amazing. And I would get burned out after the first day or two because I wasn't used to it. And because I wasn't thinking about sustainable, because it was a short lived trip. And so I could kind of afford to like push myself and then crash when I got home. But like doing that, for 7 years, 8 years with a full time job is not as sustainable. And so this is really the first year I've focused on sustaining and conserving and just keeping an eye on my energy. Um, Over the past few years, I've been diagnosed with ADHD, and that has a lot of like executive function, energy, proportioning issues with it. And it's not that I got those issues when I was diagnosed, but rather I began to understand some issues that I had been having with time management and burnout and pushing myself when I read a little bit more about what it meant to be diagnosed with ADHD as an adult. And so I've been really thinking a lot about this year. And there's this very interesting trend among writers who kept diaries and journals, um, in the 1800s, 1900s, today, Virginia Woolf, Henry David Thoreau, a lot of writers kept journals about their writing practices. And there's this mysterious centralization on the 3 to 4 hour work period. Now, this isn't all the work you do all day, but this is the amount of time that a human brain can sustainably focus in an intense and creative way. And that was a mistake that I had been making. I had been trying to do deep work, like intense, creative, like not generative. I don't like to use generative anymore. Because it sounds like automatic. It sounds like a machine. But yeah, doing the hard work, the hard creative work, the deep focus, the brain power for that. I do that now. I set an alarm for 3 hours a day, and I do it every day. Um, I am just now starting to work in a day off in my week. This is new for me, and I'm working on it with my therapist about taking a day off every week, and I'm keeping track of it. And this is the first month in 7 years where I've taken a day off every week. And I've noticed I'm writing a lot more because of it. So I don't just work 3 hours a day. I do my intense writing for 3 hours in the morning. And then the rest of my day, I'm doing just business stuff. So I'm doing our taxes, I'm doing finance stuff, I'm answering emails, I'm scheduling out podcast episodes, whatever, making the thumbnail for tonight's live stream, etc. So yeah, and I'm going to continue to think about this, and I'll let you know if things change and how they change. Oh, Damien says, I'm relieved to be here tonight. Yeah, Kickstarter stuff has been a nightmare so far and is running my anxiety up right now. Ooh, Damien. Well, first of all, congrats. I'm really excited for your show. I know it's going to be amazing. But that Kickstarter is, are you doing a 30-day, like a full 30-day one? Hmm. Sarah says, then again, we have a law that establishes rules in the workplace that makes it so it's usually not that bad. My my field is cursed with the gilded cage syndrome. Usually good, but so inhuman. Interesting. Think you might push it to the 40-day. I don't know enough about Kickstarter and crowdfunding, but I think that you should follow your gut. That's what if that's what feels right. For a moment, I remembered the other thing I wanted to say, and it just completely left again. That's fine. It'll come back. Damien, if you'd like to share your Kickstarter link in the chat, you are more than welcome to do that. And if you, I want to say you've already shared it to in the Discord. But yeah, if you are here tonight and you have never been to a Create Along before, hello and welcome. I'm Sarah. I'm a writer, producer, speaker, all sorts of things. Small business owner, denim jacket wearer, all sorts of things. And I do these create alongs twice a week on Wednesdays and Fridays because there is something really magical about getting together with other creative people in a space that is dedicated to talking about and then doing the creative writing slash whatever it is that you are working on. This is not just for writers. I have had people in this group before who have done knitting, who have painted, who have crocheted. So this is for all sorts of people who are just looking for a warm and welcoming space in which to do some creative stuff. Yeah. Damien says the denim jacket, yeah, that just makes you part Canadian as well. Excellent. Oh, I knew that this was going to be a good day. Good. And then Damien, you linked your Kickstarter. Good. Thank you for doing that. I'm excited to see what you're doing, and I'm really hopeful that it'll work out well for you. But I digress. Um, if this is your first time to one of our create along / write alongs, welcome. As I said, I'm Sarah. This is a super laid back, super chill space. You are welcome to use it how you wish. Now, structure wise, what we do is we gather at 7 p.m. Central, like we are doing now. We chat for a while about creativity, about just what we've been working on and what we want to be working on and what we haven't been working on. And then what I do is I'll make the chat disappear for a little bit while we write. I'll put up a banner that says we're writing till 8:45 p.m. Central. So that'll give us about an hour and 25 minutes. Math is not my strong suit. It'll give us an amount of time in which to write. And I will mute myself so you won't hear me typing and sipping tea that's not blood and, whatever else it is. You're in pre-launch. Okay, so people can click notify me on launch to keep in the know. Good. Good. I was about to say I thought I visited your page, but I was like, I don't remember donating. But yes, you're in pre-launch. I love to hear it. So let me know in the chat if you want to, what you're working on tonight. Some of you have already kind of shared that, but if anyone else wants to share what they're working on this evening, I'm going to be doing some handwriting here because that's been working for me this week. I mean, it works for me all the time because I write a little bit better when I handwrite, but that's like a whole nother topic for another day. And if you would like to remain anonymous, if you are just chilling wherever it is you are and you are happy not saying anything in the chat, that is totally fine too. You are very welcome regardless. Mike says, working on edits for my 4th book, lots of stuff to fix. You got them back. Were you pleased? Were you terrified? Tiffany says, tonight I'm working on my script for tomorrow's newscast, then back to the creative stuff. Oh, fantastic. That's the other thing too, is like when you write both like for work and for fun, things get a little weird. I think that was the second thing I was thinking about earlier. It gets really weird and really complicated. It is the sign of a good edit. That's a really good way to put that, Damien. I know when I give my scripts to my husband and creative partner, Tim, he usually has a couple paragraphs for me. And sometimes it can be hard to see because there's this little part of you that wants to be like, I did it perfect this time. I did it perfectly right. But at the same time, no. Everybody needs an editor. Everybody needs an editor. And if that editor is generous enough with you to share a wealth of information, then you've got a good editor. Mike says, I was pleased because there were things I hadn't considered, but terrified about how to fix them. Yes. I remember getting notes back when I was working on the TV show, like getting notes back from the executives, and they're like, yeah, no, we need to know how this works. And I'm like, I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to like, but it's a challenge. And I know you're up to it because you're a good writer. Yes, Jack Andrews says getting so close to finishing chapter 7. Oh, I love to hear that. I love it. And you sound like you've found your footing again, maybe with the story. And that it's kind of, I don't want to like read too much into it, but you sound excited and I love to hear that. That's what keeps you slow with your writing? Yes, when I have to stare at a computer for work and for my passion project. Honestly, Tiffany, that's part of the reason that I write by hand too, I think. Because the stuff that I write for work and for clients, it's all on the computer. It's all on my laptop. I don't write my client work by hand, which is a realization that I just had. I'll do sometimes I'll do bullet points for a client project by hand in a notebook, but yeah, when I'm writing for a client, it's all on the laptop. So that's interesting. JC Henry says, tonight working on a scene from the space saga, Prisoner Exchange. Ooh, that sounds like it's going to be very tense and very interesting. I like that. I hope it's fun. I hope that you find some joy in that. And I don't know if joy is the right word, but I hope that you enjoy it. Yes. Damien says the more an editor rips it apart, the better an edit it is. I detach pride from it. That's so hard. 'Cause I'm a narcissist. And I just understand that the editor wants it to be everything it can be. Yes. The editor is doing their job. They're not out to get you. Yes. So next time I get edits back, Damien, I'm going to want you to remind me that you said that. I will need that reminder. Jack Andrews says, last time I was feeling uninspired because I was trying to do too much. Oh boy, yeah. Started feeling like a checklist to get to the next chapter. I narrowed my focus and found what I wanted to say with the scene. Oh, I'm so glad. Oh, what a great breakthrough. And what a good feeling. I know exactly what that feeling is because I have done the same thing. So, thank you all of you for sharing all of this. It's so good and so generous of you to kind of share what works for you, what doesn't, etc. So, if folks are ready, I'm going to switch us over here to writing time. As nope, down here. There you go. As you can see, it says currently writing till 8:45 p.m. Central. What I'm going to do is I will shortly mute myself on this end. I'll keep my video up so that you can see that I'm writing. If I ever have to do a BRB to refill my tea or anything, I'll put up a little screen so you don't have to see me haul myself up off the floor. But yeah, otherwise, are folks ready to get started? Harden that armor. Yes. Yes. The relationship with the editor is a collaboration. Yeah, same. Yes. Oh, Mike said I have imposter syndrome about writing, so yes, the notes are not worse than oh, gotcha, than I think they might be. Oh, totally. All right, friends. Let's go ahead and do this. Again, I'll mute myself and we'll dive in. Feel free to keep chatting in the chat. It just won't show up on the screen. But yeah, good luck. And yeah, let us know how you're doing. All right. writers and creators. Welcome back. How are you doing? How are you feeling? How did that go? Sarah commented earlier, okay, I'm exhausted. Have a nice evening. Yes. Yes. Point is to come and go as you please, come and go as you need to, whatever works best for you in your process, and to definitely stop when you are feeling that exhaustion creep in. So, how are folks feeling? Mike says it took me a bit to get into it, but the time flew by. Mike, I had a very similar experience to you, I think, in that regard. It took me a long time to like get myself back into the flow of what I'd been writing earlier this morning. Um, but eventually I got back in. I wrote 2 pages. Well, two and a half. Here's the little half page up there. So that felt good. I'm definitely done for the day. Um, and I maybe went a little bit longer than was wise. So I'll see how I feel tomorrow. But yeah, Damien says I ordered a bunch of fancy and antiquated lapel pins for the Kickstarter rewards. Oh, need to get the mock-ups underway. Gah, that's a lot. Jack Andrews says, not as much as I'd like, but progress is progress. It's yeah, for me it's really easy to beat myself up about not making the kind of progress I think I should make or that I had set my expectations to make when really those expectations were, at least for me, unrealistic or in perhaps kinder terms, optimistic. I am very optimistic about what I can get done in an amount of time, and it rarely comes to that. So, yep. Davian says, kind of took this time to do more work on the Kickstarter. Can't concentrate on writing. Right. You have to understand where your energy is at, and writing while distracted, it's probably better to work on the thing that's distracting you, at least for a little bit. I have been known to set a timer like, okay, this is really weighing on my mind, this, letter, this thing for a client. I'll work on this for 30 minutes and get that out of the way and feel good about it. And then I can jump into my project and actually focus on it. Because that focus can be really hard to direct. Yeah, I totally get that. How about other folks? How are you feeling? How was this time for you? JC Henry says, feeling okay. I did better than I thought. That's awesome. In terms of quality or productivity or page numbers or just the feeling that you have, because that is also extremely valid. Tiffany says, fabulous. I got through my script and then started thinking about whether I could take a trip to Ireland during my work time off for book research. I love that. If you do that, will you let us know? If you do that, please let us know. I would be very interested to hear how that trip goes. That would be amazing. So so yeah. Yeah, Damien says that's my thought. Yep. If I can get it done this week, I can focus on writing next week again. Yeah. Sometimes you just have to get that stuff just even though you don't want to, even though you want to prioritize your writing, just get that stuff out of the way. Jack Andrews says, had to keep myself from falling into the trap of polishing what I've already written. Funny you should say that. I one of my good friends, um, Asa has YouTube channel for writers, and I kicked off my writing session this evening by watching his latest video. Um, I can put it in the chat here. Let's see, because um, he talks about 5 or 6 things that he's going to do to become a professional fiction writer. And just like one of his points was about not rewriting, not polishing. It was just very, what's the right word? Appropriate for the moment. JC Henry says it was a productivity feel good. I was having trouble with the scene. Yes. That productivity feel, though, is, I don't know, for me, in a way, is almost more important than how much I write. Like if I write to whatever number of words or pages or quantitative goal that I'm going for, but like I don't feel good about it, then I don't feel good about it. And like feeling good about it, feeling satisfied with my work is, to me, I don't know, that's what allows me to move on with my day after that and not dwell on, should I go back and like write more? Ugh. So yeah, that feeling of satisfaction is, yes, very much. So, yes. If this was your first time here, I hope that you had, I don't necessarily want to say a productive time. I hope that you found something good in your creative work this evening, and that you were able to find some peace or satisfaction or meaning in the work that you did in our group tonight. So, we do these every Wednesday and Friday evening from 7 to 9 p.m. Central. And I know I say evening, and I know that for folks on the West Coast, it's not technically like really evening, but it's evening here. So, let's see if you would like to join us for future writing sessions. You can subscribe to my YouTube or follow me on Twitch. I simultaneously stream to both places, so it's kind of whatever works better for you. Yeah, I know you can set notifications for YouTube videos, and I think yeah, you can set notifications for Twitch streams too. So, yeah, you can set up to be notified and know when I'm going live. Um, but yeah, it was a delight to have you here. There's a very loud motorcycle going past. Yep, good. I don't even know if my mic picked that up, but very loud. Most of all, I just want to say thank you for being here. This is your time, and you've chosen to spend it here with this group, but even more importantly, with your projects, with whatever it is that you have been, I don't know, driven to create. And that's important. That's, I don't want to like use the word like sacred lightly, but that's, I don't know, I feel very strongly that your creative work really establishes so much meaning in your life. So I'm really glad that you took time for it today. Oh, good. I'm so glad. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Good night, JC Henry. Yes, Tiffany says, I feel like this is my year to finally finish my novel. So thank you. I hope you do finish it. Keep us posted. Keep us posted. That would be fantastic. We would love to see that. So, yeah, thank you for being here, each and every one of you. Thank you for being you. You are just, you are very, yeah, yep. I was going to say, you're so good. And you know what? You are. You are good. All right, friends. Take good care of yourselves. If you like, you are welcome back any Wednesday and any Friday that I am streaming. Yeah. Come and go as you please, as you need to, etc. And I will see you the next time that I see you. All right. Bye for now.